The Predator franchise has some reputation rebuilding to do after Prey ended like this.
This is as far as you go.
And The Predator ended like this.
Being on the spectrum isn't really a disorder. It's actually the next step in the evolutionary chain.
Dyslexia. It was never a failing. It was precisely what allows you to process those visions of the future.
Now, I've always liked the Predator franchise, so I definitely want it to get back on form to the original movies. Except when the first trailer came about for Predator Badlands, it focused on... What I want from a Predator movie is the Predator, an ultimate killing machine, pitting his wits and his skills against the best, most dangerous people in the universe, namely men, robots, and aliens. At no point in any of my theory crafting have I wished for Zoomer Karens.
Here, you're not the predator, you're the prey.
I could help you.
We might not be alone in this hunt.
There is a difference between pitting your wits against a monster and testing your patience against one.
Well, good luck with your journey.
After the first trailer for Badlands then, I didn't have much hope. There were some good things in it that I liked, that were very briefly mentioned short glimpses at cool things. Whether that be giant monsters, armies of armed men, or massive mechs to fight that look like something out of a Matrix movie. If your feelings for a movie are simply a combination of positives and negatives, then nothing was going to overcome that.
You're after a creature that can't be killed. The definitive apex predator.
I could help you.
Which is a shame, because this and Tron Ares were the two movies I was really looking forward to for the remains of the year. And after more information came out about Tron, well, I was left with Predator Badlands. It seems fortuitous then that at the same time, first reactions for Ares came out, calling it stunningly visual, but vapidly inept storytelling. Predator Badlands released their final trailer, which is much better than the first one, largely because I think they're hiding the problems. Well, at least attempting to. Its primary advantage is that it's hidden Karen as much as possible. She has a few lines, appears in a little bit of it, but is largely absent from annoying the audience.
Welcome to the most dangerous planet in the universe, where everything is trying to kill you.
Now, of course, this won't actually improve the movie in any way. She'll still be in it, but it is a sign that they at least know it's a problem and may have done something to minimize the issues in the final movie, if they've got any sense.
I need a hand. I could help you. I need a hand.
For the rest of the trailer, I actually really liked the second half of it, when it showed more of what I liked from the first one. You see far more of the big fights, Predator being cool, other Predators going to war with him, and more than just a brief glimpse at the mech to know it exists. If I analyse my thoughts about the trailer a bit more deeply, then I do begin to notice everything I'm mentioning isn't the main character. In fact, it looks like the Predators that I like are going to be his enemies. There is a problem with the main Predator in this movie. It's why he looks differently, because he's actually, well, he's not very good. He is a runt, which is why he not only has a hairstyle from Portland, but he also looks like one of them. Yes, in the last movie, we did find out that a Predator could be taken out by some tiny little woman.
This is as far as you go.
Usually used to describe the smallest or weakest animal in a litter or offspring. He is the weakest of his species, and we can guess that that's also why he might be rebelling against his own kind, as he has an unsupportive father who views him as weak, where Death is fighting for acceptance in his own clan. The problem is, that's not what I want from a Predator movie. They are the apex predator, the best fighters. They travel the galaxy just looking for things on their level that they can hunt. They are honorable creatures that will even lower themselves to the standard of their prey, just so they can have something approaching a fair fight. It's why they don't just blast their prey from space. They could easily get the kill without the person knowing, but because they are so skilled, so dangerous, so honorable hunters, that not only helps create interesting scenarios within a movie, but also gives predators this kind of aura about them, that when they turn up, it's like, oh shit, look who's here! This isn't an aura you should mess with. It's not one you should deconstruct, because it can ruin the entire species. I'm worried you've ruined the entire species. Now, I'm sure there are ways that you could tell this story without doing it, but the second trailer, it doesn't open up the best way to show they've done that. In fact, it opens like this. These are apex predators, skilled people. Just to survive to this age among his own warrior people, you'd think he'd have to be good at what he does. He can't even land his pissing ship. Even if something's gone horribly wrong, it's a really dangerous planet, he got shot down, he still should be able to handle that. Some kind of skill, flair, talent. I don't want to see my predator get smashed into the floor at speed like a twerp. I can't help but be reminded of a scene in Red, Retired but Extremely Dangerous. Is that scene farcical? Yes. Does it make him look like an impressive, skilled assassin that has been doing this his entire life? Yes, that's the sense that I want of predators. Instead, the trailer seems to double down on this, at least in the first half of it. It wants you to know this guy is a pathetic waste of space that can't do anything right. He's completely out of his depth. Every time he goes to have a fight, he just gets beaten up all over the place. And it's entirely the wrong way to do a Predator movie. If you wanted to show that, okay, this guy is a runt and there are things out here far more dangerous than he is, then at least have him be impressive. He is a predator at the end of the day. Have him do stuff that would be extremely challenging, wipe out a load of people, and then introduce something worse. So that when the worst thing arrives, oh, well, he's skilled. So to beat him, that's got to be really dangerous. Instead, if you show him getting beaten by a plant, well, you're just not particularly impressive to begin with. Not only are you a runt, but I'm with the unsupportive father because you seem like a right useless git. So I still have concerns about the main character, the Karen supporting him. But what I do like are all the enemies that presumably he's going to beat. It really feels like I'm already rooting for the wrong side, which I'm not sure shows the best marketing for a movie or setup for a plot. And there are other concerns. One of the ones that has been brought up is that Predator Badlands is going to be PG-13 rather than R-rated. It's like, well, were the others? Well, Predator was an 18. Predator 2, 18. Predators, 15. The Predator, 15. And even Prey was a 15. Now, they have said that one of the reasons they think they can get away with this is because they don't have any humans in the movie, and so there won't be human red blood. That means they can still be gruesome and gory. It'll just be green blood, blue blood, and various different white fluids pouring out of this woman. Don't worry, I'm sure it's not her first time. Yes, that milky substance that pours out of the synths.
I'd quite like to try and pull off an elf.
Milk for the child.
Stop, please stop.
So in this movie, maybe they've got an excuse. I do think it's a worry, though, that if this movie is massively successful, they can think, wow, that was probably because of the age rating. We're not going to have the predators hunt humans again. One of the dangers that you can get when you remove a movie from what it is that it stays like that forever. And other people have shared that reaction with, I don't want it to be moved towards the Jurassic World direction. And considering it's aliens and robots, it's understandable, but better not become a standard for the future. Predator is an adult franchise, and it should be shown as such. One of the problems is if you rip apart a synth, no one cares. It's like throwing a toaster out the window. It's really not that big a deal. Certainly not impressive. Humans will always have a more emotional connection to other humans, and so if you really do want to make people care about a predator killing people, you're probably going to have them fighting people with red blood. Yeah, you can have all your action scenes with all the other monsters and everything, and that'll be cool. But if you want a long-running franchise, you're going to have to keep making it with humans. And just as you want humans to be dying because they're more relatable, you don't always want the predator to be relatable. And yet one of the current issues in modern Hollywood is they can only write what they know. They basically write their life on screen, and that means they always write
dad issues.
In a warrior species, you would expect the children to fight among themselves and then at some age have to go off and sort of prove themselves. This would be similar to the Spartans sending off their child to hunt an animal to bring back its head as a coming-of-age ritual. Either you died to the animal or proved that you were a man now and could actually stand with the rest of the men in a fight. A coming-of-age test for everyone makes perfect sense, and if you are the predators, being sent to the most dangerous planet in the universe to see if you survive, to hunt something incredibly dangerous, to bring back as a trophy, that's a story everyone can get behind. And yet they had to add their, Californian twist. From the description, it doesn't sound like this is a ritual that everyone has to go through. Instead, this is a ritual the runt has to go through. Because he's the weakest of his species, it sounds like they're essentially sending him off on an impossible mission so that he doesn't come back. This would be the equivalent of leaving a disabled baby out in the cold so that it doesn't weaken the rest of the tribe. Even that I could understand. You don't want him weakening your species and passing on his flawed, weak, mutated genetics. The problem I have is with the next bit, that he's got an unsupportive father. Like, that's a bad thing. As a species, the predators would be quite similar to the Klingons. That yes, we fight. If you don't fight, you're a pathetic, weak, big man up, grow up and act as if you should. Except now, in this modern time where, there isn't actually a right way to behave, suddenly the guy's Why would a warrior species be supportive? They would have different ways of being supportive. If you're weak and need a fight, the supportive way of being a father would be to hit you round the face until you hit him back. But Hollywood has a massive problem with abstraction, with putting themselves into the shoes of another species and seeing it from them. Instead, they see it from the Portlandian point of view. He's just a mean father. Decker's fighting for acceptance, rebelling against the sisterhood. And rather than have it be a story about coming of age, where a boy becomes a man by overcoming challenges in his life, instead, well, I've got to go and prove all those people wrong in my clan that said I couldn't do it, which is exactly the story of Prey, which is one of the reasons Prey is a terrible movie.
We need to move to easier protected ground.
In Prey, rather than the woman fulfilling her role and becoming a mother and looking after everybody in the tribe, she has a chip on her shoulder and wants to go off and prove that she can do what the men do for some reason. These stories aren't relatable to people because they're nonsensical, they're not realistic, and yet they're what we keep getting pushed in Hollywood. And I hope I'm wrong about that, because if I am wrong and it just becomes a normal child coming of age story, then the movie could be good. But if it just repeats Prey's storyline again, which is what the article described it as, then it ruins everyone's motivations for me, and that is one area that Hollywood movies have been weak on for many years at this point. And it's very difficult to forgive people who never seem to learn from prior lessons. And don't get me wrong, I hope I am wrong about it, because they do talk about the movie as if they put a lot of care into it. Like, we insanely decided to treat the language properly like Elvish or Dothraki, except for those there's more precedent. Rather than just going, they're like, no, we actually want our language to have a structure so that it makes sense. It's a futuristic sequel with laser grappling hooks and shinier technology. And I like seeing the Predator in different scenarios against different sort of technology levels. I like his core idea behind the movie, that he wants Predator to feel very genre, like an inversion of the original premise, that he's going to be hunted by things and has to use his guile to survive, that it's its own movie, it's not reliant on memorable skeletons, callbacks, or prior releases. It's just a big, crazy swing in the hope that it drives butts into seats. But just like in the trailer, where for every character or scene that I like, there's another one that is a red flag, you get the exact same in this interview for the comments. If you want the same old Predator experience, you can hit play on Predator or Prey, or any other, whichever one is your fit. He has a desire to make something new, but I like Predator. I want a Predator movie. I want a new Predator movie, not something new. If I wanted something that wasn't Predator, I'd go and watch a different IP. That Deck is fighting with his brother in a training battleground, and he's the one that selects Kalisk, known as Death Planet, just to prove his unsupportive father wrong. Like, how is that anything other than
dad issues?
That he's fighting for acceptance with his clan, his own bloodline, and that while he too likes the idea that predators have a code, like hitmen or crime underworld goodfellas, I felt like there was something cool to explore within that culture that's different than just adding a bunch on top of it. Great. But what you seem to be exploring is the honor culture was something they did with the thing that they were hunting. They're not an insecure, effeminate Californian bitch. And basically any talk about Ellie Fanning's character is as you'd expect. Her story has the same roots, but is a bit differently thematically. It starts to go into a different branch of proving oneself. Seems to be the only theme in either movie. It was the same motivation in Prey, and it wasn't good in Prey, and now we've got the same thing for her and the Predator. There's a unique hook to her character that is exciting in the pairing of her and Deck. I was inspired by video games like Shadow of the Colossus, where you have a protagonist paired with someone else who provides colour and connection. Nobody wants to be connected to that.
I could help you.
You could be on a death planet, and the moment you show up in a mouth, you're like, alright, love. Think I'll take my chances alone. So Predator Badlands is inspired by wanting to see the Predator with someone else. This character who's the opposite of him. He's very laconic. A man of few words. Fanning is not. Can you imagine my thoughts on that then? Every time she opens her mouth, it's like nails down a chalkboard, and he's like, don't worry, she doesn't shut up in the old movie. You're really selling it to me. She's capable in ways that he is. He's a predator. She's half a woman. The worst half. Physically, she's got a real thing. Think you'll find that was surgically removed from her, mate. That I'm excited for you guys to see. PG-13, watch out. We really wanted people to connect with Deck, which is a switch from the past where the Predator had always been the badass villain. Well, obviously in this movie, it would have been cool to not see him as the badass villain and see him as the badass protagonist. Instead, it seems like we got the weak, mutated protagonist who's got a chip on his shoulder and a subscription to Cosmopolitan and GQ magazine. And at this point, my remaining hope for the movie comes from comments like, Dex starts to feel like Conan the Barbarian. But also, when you think of things like Book of Eli, good movie, or Road Warrior, he's very aggressive and is sort of missing the other side of that. He has to rise to the occasion and defeat things with both his might and his intellect. It's very Clint Eastwood. At this stage, it's difficult to know what to think, but I could bet. If you'd shown me the final trailer as the only piece of marketing footage, I think I'd be more confident. The second half of that trailer I really liked. I liked the monsters, I liked the fights, and it had a far more stronger feeling to the Predator, as if, no, I'm the guy that can take all this stuff down, which is what I would want a Predator who's the protagonist of their own movie to be. Predators aren't evil so much as they just want to fight the strongest people that they can find. They don't randomly victimize the weak, they just pit themselves against the strongest people. In a way, it's no more different than the competitive nature men have in video games, to go and see who can get top of the scoreboard. Just the predators have the balls to do it in real life. I think there's an interesting part to that you can make a movie out of, and you could show him fighting all of these incredible things. It's just that I think it's held back by the prey motivations, the prey type characters. The, oh, but daddy doesn't love me enough, of being this completely weak oxygen thief who cares so much about other people's opinions you really have to question, are you even a person? A temperament that not only didn't used to exist decades ago, but now is massively popular in places like California, where the movies are made, and so we see it all the time, despite it being repulsive to the majority of the audience, or at least the majority of this target market for the movie. And so at this point, it's tough to call. I think there's positives and negatives on each side, and it really, for me, will end up which way it balances. Are they actually going to try and make us care about the stupid android that's strapped to his back? Or is this going to be an action movie where he just goes through and slaughters monster after monster in a place literally called the Death Planet? Because if I was going to bet, I would put my money on the former. But if you really want to make a movie for the target demographic of Predator, then it really is the latter half of that trailer, the action movie stereotype that you should be fulfilling. It's just not what the articles suggest. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe. More videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.